Hello YouTube! Well, today I'm at the William McKinley Presidential Library and Museum, and what you see up there behind me is the monument and his gravesite. So first, let's hike up those stairs and we'll pay our respects and then go in the museum and learn a little bit more about our 25th president. So this is the final resting place of William McKinley and his wife Ida. He was elected president 1896 and re-elected in 1900. And less than 10 months later, he was killed by an assassin at the exposition in Buffalo, New York. And his vice president at that time, Teddy Roosevelt, that's when he became our president. Teddy was up in the Adirondack Mountains hiking in the wilderness and had to be summoned, and there's a big story up there about his mad dash down to a train station to get down to Buffalo. But one thing that I like in here is a quote from McKinley that's up around the top of the rotunda. Let us ever remember that our interest is in concord, not in conflict, and that our real eminence rests in the victories of peace, not those of war. Many of the men from Stark County served in the Union and Army during the Civil War. This is William McKinley at he enlisted when he was 18 and served until 1865 when he was 22, and he had fought in South Mountain and Antietam, and which I believe we'd been to, and he mustered out as decorated captain and a brevet major. So this was McKinley's home. When the president died, Mrs. McKinley stayed there until her death in 1907, 6 years later. Then she gave it to the Sisters of Mercy to be used as a hospital. 18-room hospital. It soon outgrew it, and they put on this big addition in the back. And then a group of citizens tried to move it because the hospital needed the space, and this is what it looked like when they moved it. Unfortunately, when the stock market crashed, they ran out of money very fast, and during the winter of 1934 to 35, it was torn down. The public was given no opportunity to purchase pieces of the home, and the Canton Park Commissioner wrote a letter saying, we use this material in various FREA projects, buildings, shelters, tables, and various parks in the city. So sadly, we cannot visit their home. But we do have a collection of artifacts from the home, as well as they have a audio anatomic figure or figures of the two of them that we can push a series of buttons to learn a little bit more about them. Also, in the McKinley Gallery, they've got a lot of things about building the monument, and this nightshirt that's believed he was wearing that when he was trying to recover from his gunshot wound. It is ripped up the back where they think the emergency medical procedure necessitated that. And that little .32 caliber revolver is not the one that was used, but it is identical to the one that was used to kill him. In the other cases, they've got memorabilia from him, like the presidential dinnerware, a couple of cool canes that were presented to him, as well as some family artifacts, things from his campaigns, and his top hat, cane. And here are the McKinleys. So not only is this the McKinley Presidential Library, but the museum is also natural history. And that remnant of a dugout canoe was pulled from a lake near here, and they figure it's from the mid-1600s because the flat lines indicate that it was done using metal tools, which would have come to this area with traders at that time. Now, when I think canals, I always think the Erie Canal, but because that was so successful in New York, they decided to build one here called the Erie and Ohio, and it came down from Lake Erie and connected into the Ohio River, came right through this area. So have you ever seen clocks up in steeples and wonder how they work? Well, here's a clock mechanism, and up at the top, through the gears, it's connected up to 3 faces. You can add a 4th face over that way. And it's used with a counterweight. Pulling this drum, and you can see it's with the pendulum with a counterweight at the top of it, but it keeps going and rocking that. So during World War II, in order to control supply and demand and design so that everybody had a chance to get the food they needed, not just the people with money, they had the ration stamps or ration books, and you were issued according to the family's size, and each coupon allowed you to purchase something at a specific amount. They used it as points. If you used up all of your ration cards, then you couldn't buy any more of that particular item that month. So you really had to plan ahead. And one thing I didn't know is that if something you bought was worth 10 points in the beginning, worth 8 points, and you used a 10-point card, you lost 2 points. So the government came up with these little discs. They're each worth 1 point to use as change. The red ones are for meat and butter and fat and oils, and with some exceptions, cheese. And the blue ones were for canned, bottled, frozen fruits and vegetables, juices, and dried beans. So that is a Hoover suction sweeper, and it was built or made, designed, built here in North Canton, and we're in Canton. So, and now it's more like this. According to this sign, powerful suction of a Hoover will give you a lift. If I sit on that chair and flick that switch, you think I'm going to get lifted off the ground? Let's find out. Somehow, I doubt this thing is that strong. This little vacuum cleaner here is going to lift me up off the ground. So what they do around here for fun back in the day? Well, hey, why not go for a balloon ride? Or you had a professional football league formed in 1920 in the Hupmobile dealership. The Massillon Tigers and the Canton Bulldogs, and that's Jim Thorpe, who went on to become an Olympic champion and had the whole controversy because he had played semi-pro ball, and what that is a rubber nose guard used by players in the 1920s. No helmets, protect the nose. So down on the lower floor, we can visit the dinosaurs. What's sort of cool is they got cutaways to show you how they work. So you don't have to be a professional archaeologist to find things like this. This little girl found this one while in Wyoming and convinced her father that he should come see what she found. Now, it's not as big as some of the museums we've been in, but still, it's pretty cool. And they even got the Tesla coils, like we saw in the Rochester, New York Museum. I want one of these. I want my own tornado on my bus. Well, looks like I timed it just about right. It rained while I was in there. It's not hot and muggy, just muggy. And I'm going to say goodbye to Mr. McKinley and get back on the road and see what else I can find. I think you're going to like the next video.